There's a stench in the air around the streets we run. It's a battlefield, it's a full-blown war. There's a smile on your face and a settled score. Does it pick up if you tell them so?
Record Store Day launched in 2007 and has become the biggest day in the calendar for record collectors the world over. Glasgow's music shops saw queues snake along the surrounding areas as fans queued from as early as 5:30 to find specially released records. Sandy McLean of Love Music and Dep of Monorail tell us how they got involved with the event.
Sorry, we've been involved with Record Store Day since the very first one. I've got a Google News alert on Google for a few things, and record stores and record shops was one of them. And I noticed it popped up, and the American organizer Michael had his name all over it. So I just emailed him, asked him what was involved. He just sent me the press pack back by email. And we got in touch. Spencer from Rough Trade also got in touch with Michael, and the first year we just put up a couple of signs that we printed off. Didn't have any bands, didn't have any special releases, but we just kind of, thought we knew something would happen.
The first year we didn't really know what it was, and we never did the first year, so we missed that out. I think the only place that I knew that was involved in the first year was probably, I think Avalanche in Edinburgh was involved in the first year, and probably like Rough Trade. But we came in the following year.
Record Store Day has grown from having no special releases in 2007 to over 400 this year. Names such as Kate Bush, Paul Weller and Pulp saw exclusive releases, while the likes of Churches and the Twilight Sad saw new music closer to home. Those queuing in the day told us what they were hoping to find.
Hopefully White Stripes, Black Keys, Glass Vegas, but probably going to be run out of half of them.
I was hoping to get the Nick Cave and the Black Seeds, or maybe the Freeman Whips.
It's Big Country and I'm looking for a 7-inch single. So,
Kate Bush and Roytop.
To get see Emily play Pink Floyd, and there's a Factory Record sampler. There's a few other things, but that was the main two. I'm not holding out much hope right enough for the queue.
Hopefully Biffy Clyro or J-Bug.
Well, I think I probably should have been here a wee bit earlier because I wanted Echo and the Bunnymen. I don't think that's going to happen. So I want to get at the driving, Relationship to Command. Possibly the Churches EP. It's Aidan Moffat and Twilight Sad cover version one.
I want at the driving, Relationship to Command.
David Power and Frightened Rabbit.
Paul Weller.
Cody and LP and the Django Django remixes. Is there anything left from Frightened Rabbit after this queue?
You've got a list, haven't you?
Well, yeah, because I don't forget them. You're after Frightened Rabbit.
Yeah, the double.
There's a beta band after Elliott Smith.
I heard there's a Ty Scala record out, so I'm going to buy that.
I quite like the James White back to back.
Elliott Smith, the White Stripes reissue, Elephant, Relationship Command, Mogwai, 7-inch, the Nicholas Jar and Grizzly Bear remix, 12-inch.
I'm going to buy the Black Lips one. Or maybe Tame Impala. Yeah, I'm going for Tame Impala. I'm not sure. David Bowie one looks alright as well. I'm going for the Sex Pistols one. It's quite vacant, isn't it?
The troubles independent record shops have experienced over the past few years have been well documented. With HMV going into administration towards the end of last year, these small stores have seen customers returning to purchase new music. But the influx of new customers and the benefits they bring is felt most on Record Store Day.
It's better than Christmas, basically, yeah. There's no other day where you have people lined up outside your shop, and that's what Record Store Day's become. And it's great, it's been a tremendous success. It really helped us survive for 2 years. Things have been okay the past year or so because HMV have been struggling, so people have been coming down here and buying new releases. But when the recession hit in 2008, we were really struggling for 2009 and 2010. 2010 was really bad, and I was making less than minimum wage, and we can't go bust because I'm not a limited company. I'm just a sole trader, and I can't run away because I've got a lease for here for another 5 years. So basically, it was just like sort of like knuckle down and change what you do a little bit. And we went more second hand, and we did less new releases. But when Record Store Day came along, basically it meant all of a sudden I could pay the bills. And it's a dreadful feeling not being able to pay your bills because it does kind of obsess on you when you're trying to go to sleep at night and things. So for a good few months there in 2009, 2010, it really just saved our ass.
I think in one way it's good because it heightens attention of releases and it reminds people
like, I think that was something that was quite exciting, was when you knew an album was coming out, you get quite excited about it. So having a day where certain releases are, the bands can tie into that, get more press for the reissue is pretty cool. But I do question slightly whether it's like, if the whole idea of this day is to kind of get people more into record stores, the best way to do it is by having this really elite, sort of have to be there really early for the limited number of records. It's kind of like, that's it, just kind of, because a lot of people have the misconception of record stores that it's a really niche thing and they're going to feel intimidated with it.
I like it. I quite like the buzz of it. Just creating and the sun's almost shining. So it's quite like the whole buzz and the vibe.
Well, that's I think that's probably the best thing, is because like you were saying, you came along last year. You weren't here for the early stuff, but it made you come back. So I think it's a fun day. Like, it's
well, it makes you kind of take notice, doesn't it? Like, I try and swing by every so often, but at the same time I'm pretty busy, so I buy a lot of records online and stuff as well, so it actually gets you up off your arse and actually to come along and pick up some stuff locally, so it's a good idea. Supposedly it keeps them going for months on end afterwards, so it's good for their business as well, obviously.
It's good to see the real local guys getting business around, like HMV and franchises that are clearly not doing so well, that are get absolutely no interest in music at all. So you can see yourself all the fans out today that are genuine music fans. So
it's interesting to see that finals coming back in such a big way. And obviously with HMV closing and that, it's interesting to see that there's still such a enthusiasm for music, especially for local stores.
It's bigger than Christmas Eve or all the other days that you think the independent shops make a lot of money, and it's by far the biggest, bigger than I've been doing record shops for well over 20 years now, and I've never seen anything like it. It's bigger than any sale I've been involved in, and it's huge.
It's interesting. We've had a good look at how the effect lasts, and it's kind of like a graph. If you just imagine, just a zigzaggy graph, you have obviously the big huge spike for Record Store Day, and then it's a kind of gradual. It kind of bumps along gradually, way up, and then it kind of gradually comes down as interest fades, or it's not a month later or 2 months later, interest fades. But we get so many new customers during the busy time that you get to see the few faces again. So it's been very good. And by the time that dip goes down again, the students come back, so it comes up a little bit, and then that bumps along for a little bit, and then Christmas comes up, so there's a wee spike, and then there's a big tail off in the new year when people are skint for January, February, and March. So January, February, and March are not very good times for record shops, but this year's been different because there's been so many good new releases, and HMV are struggling, and April comes along, and there's Record Store Day. So
it's really positive. I mean, you do get a lot of people that are queuing early in the morning. I won't see them back in the shop until next year. They don't. But there are other customers that might have discovered Monorail because of Record Store Day. And it might be that they don't live in Glasgow, but we're their closest record shop, and they discover it, and they've never heard of us before. And then we might see them like once a month. So it's really positive. I mean, Record Store Day is. There's very few negatives about it. It's really great, and every year we try and do it a little bit better. We have more. This year we've got like face painting for kids, and we do home baking, and it's just a big celebration that we've survived another year, and it's such a boost to our revenue that it helps us see it helps Monorail survive through summer when and your turnover dips. It really helps. It's really great for us. It's really amazing. It can go two ways. You can either get records that are too limited, where people queue from like maybe if people queue 6 in the morning and you order 30 of a record and you get 3 copies and you're fourth in the queue and you've been queuing for 3 hours and you don't get one. It's not great. No. It kind of doesn't encourage you back into record shops. But on the other side of the table, if you've queued at 6 in the morning and there's a record you can walk into a record shop in 3 months and still find, it's not great either. So I think there's a balance.
I've never been doing this early, and I'm still too late, so about half 8:30ish. Bit late.
We got here about 7 o'clock. We got up at 7 o'clock, came here for 8 o'clock. Basically was in this exact spot in the morning already. So this is us after having been waiting for 2 hours.
Both Sandy and Dep have been in the record store game for a number of years, and they told us how they got their start.
I arrived here from Canada. I'm from Nova Scotia originally. My granny was from Glasgow, And I just came here in 1977 for my gap year, and I had no intention of staying, but I got a job in Edinburgh in a record shop, and it was 1977 was the year of punk, and it was just so much fun working there. I just didn't want to go back, so I managed to stay here that long for like 35, 36 years, just surviving in the music business without being able to play music.
We're looking to start one record shop, and we looked for about a year, and we couldn't afford anywhere in the city centre. The renting rates was too high, and we just couldn't find anywhere suitable. But then our friends opened up the bar, the restaurant. We knew for years. They used to own and run the 13th Note and Apollo before that. So we knew them very well, and we just sublet the space. So we opened at the same time roughly, so it kind of worked out well.
With Record Store Day's massive growth already, the danger of the event becoming too big has begun to creep into conversation. The releases are now in the hundreds on the day, and each store has to choose what to order. Dep and Sandy told us their thoughts on the future of Record Store Day.
I wouldn't want it to be next year to be 500 releases we have to choose from to buy. I think 300 is more than enough, probably too much more. I think it'd be probably better if they scaled it down a little, but it is great.
The first year there was no special releases, the second year there was about 20, and the third year there was about 100, the fourth year there was about 400, and this year, is it the fifth year or sixth year, I forget, that this year there's nearly 500 things coming out on the day, which is just crazy. It's like nearly 500 decisions I've got to make kind of line by line about what we're getting, and then order it, and then you find out from the record companies, like I did this morning from EMI, what you're actually getting, because you know they only press 1,000 of something, like a David Bowie record, and every shop in Britain tries to order 100. Obviously it doesn't work, so I found out I'm getting like 35 Bowie, 47 churches, beta bands and stuff, so just cut that down.
With the demise of CDs just now and the growth of vinyl, it's a very exciting time in record shops because it's all changing and you don't really know how it's going to be. Like vinyl's very fashionable again. Is that going to carry on? I don't know. Live music's more popular than it's ever been. Is that going to carry on? Don't know. So I think there's a total future for record shops. I think they'll become small and a bit more curated. I think the big shops, we've probably seen the end of the big shops. I think there'll be a lot of more kind of community-based record shops, more niche shops that are specialising to maybe jazz or metal or whatever. But they're popping up. They're coming back, and particularly. Record Store Day is international. I think around the world you're noticing more, you're hearing a bit more little record shops opening up, maybe in America or Australia, but they're coming back, but they're coming back quite peak size. They're not coming back as mega stores or anything. So I think it's really interesting. I think it's a great time. I think it's certainly an exciting future.
There's trouble ahead. Trouble that may or may not be a signal 30. What will we find? A minor mishap? Or will we look upon the stark face of death?